American martial artist. January of 2014, ranked number 7, UFC middleweight division. We've got Anthony Robles, one of the most decorated athletes in Arizona state history, winning the championship, national championship, as a wrestler born with one leg. And you get an opportunity to milk the minds of some champions. Can we give these two one more time? Show them some love for being here. I'm going to start with Mark, known for your wrestling greatness and your brutal, relentless ground and pound. You've been here before. Both of you have been here before. And let's start off by just a general question. What would you like to share? You heard David Goggins. You've been here before. What's on your heart to share with these student-athlete leaders and these coaches and parents?
Yeah, what's on my heart is we're giving you guys our life experiences. And judging by our life experiences, it shapes and molds us into who we are today and who we're going to be in the future. So we just heard an awesome testimony of who he is. You guys, each and every one of you guys has a testimony within yourselves, and your life experiences will shape that. But now, even more importantly, what I say is your life choices will do that even more so. What you choose to do on a daily basis is going to shape you and mold you in who you want to be today and in the future. And that's true. Whatever you put in here, and he talked about it, your dialogue in your mind, it's huge. It's big, And your 100% today is not going to be your 100% tomorrow. Because your 100% can change. All right, so that was on my mind. So
yeah, that was on your heart. Yeah. Let me ask you. How as far as your training is concerned, how hard do you train? Let's talk about training really quickly.
Yeah. So I have people always telling me I need to come on, gauge it back a little bit. I always have people telling me that. Yesterday I worked out 4 times and I trained 6 hours. Yesterday about 5 hours, 45 minutes. I did in the morning. I did a strength conditioning workout, and then right afterwards I did MMA training, which lasted 2 hours. So my MMA workout lasted about an hour and a half. I mean, my strength conditioning went an hour and a half, and then my MMA training went 2 hours. And I did pad work directly afterwards, and this is back to back to back. And then I had to do my cardio, because I have to lose about 30 pounds, about 25 to 30 pounds right now to make my weight by May 30th. So in my mind, I have to get going. And have all these
right there in his mind. He's got to get going. Really?
Yeah. So then I have people, hey, you got to rest your body. You got to rest your body. I said, no, I know what I can do, and I did it, and I'm here today to tell you guys that your 100% is not your 100% tomorrow. So.
Everybody say hard work. Let's go to Anthony, the awesomeness of Anthony Robles. What's on your heart that you'd like to share? You've been here before, too, a couple times. What's on your heart that you want to share with these student-athlete leaders and coaches?
I think, one thing that Mark said about that choice, and that's something that we all have to deal with, because every day, no matter who you are, where you come from, what you do, we all face a challenge. We all face some sort of obstacle when we want to achieve our dreams. And it's all about not letting the challenge become an excuse. You can't let the obstacles in front of you become an excuse to fail or to slack off or say, well, it's a little too hard, or I don't think I can do it, as we heard just a little while ago, because the challenge, that's what's going to make you stronger. That's what's going to get you calloused over. And one of my favorite quotes says, impossible is found only in the dictionary of fools. You can't believe anything's impossible, because it's not. It's just a matter of how much you're willing to pay to get it. What the price is, and are you willing to pay to get what you want?
Round of applause right there. That's it. So what's going through your mind as you step on the mat for a wrestling match? National champion, 2010, 2011, one leg. I don't know if you see it. He only has one leg. What is going through your mind as you're looking at your opponent? You're about to step on the mat. I'm going to ask you the same question in a minute. What's going on up here? How do you get yourself ready to lock in?
Let me backtrack a little bit before that. Actually, in the tunnel, before I ran out onto that mat, I just remember I was terrified. I mean, my body was shaking. I was actually wiping tears out of my eyes. I was so nervous. Had to wrestle the returning national champion, and he came from the Iowa Hawkeyes. He's a Hawkeye. For me, for wrestlers, they're one of the top-notch programs. Iowa, Oklahoma State, and I grew up idolizing the Hawkeyes. So it's like a basketball player having to go out there and play against Michael Jordan. So that was me. I was so intimidated. But I remember running out there and stepping on the mat. As soon as I got out there, as soon as I was looking at him eye to eye, we're on the line like 5 inches away from each other, just ready to scrap. I just remember thinking, I worked too hard to lose. There's no way. This is mine. There's no way he's going to take it from me. I put too much in. So
everybody say hard work. He said he works too hard to lose. You give a round of applause to that. I don't want to interrupt your You're stepping in the cage, and we're sitting out at home going, oh, my goodness. They're about to, really pound each other. Sometimes we have to turn our heads. What's going through your mind as you step into the cage?
Trust me, I never thought I'd be punching and kicking people in the face for a living. Never thought I'd be doing that. But it all boils back to my life experiences. See these shoes I have on my feet? I wore them for a reason. What are these shoes?
J's on my feet.
I got some J's on my feet, right? Okay, there's that song, right? I got J's on my feet. Now, I tell you about your life experiences shaping and molding you in who you are today. These shoes I was jumped for in high school. Actually, take that back, in 8th grade. I was walking down a pathway that had a chain link fence on one side, a brick wall on the other, and I was walking down that pathway. I was wearing my J's and got jumped, got bullied for my shoes. They took them, and I felt ashamed. So there was 160,000 kids in the United States of America that get bullied every day. 1 out of 4 kids in school get bullied. I was one of that statistic. I was one of that 160,000 kids. So when I got my shoes taken from me, I didn't want to go to school. I was fearful. I was ashamed that I didn't think something like that would ever happen to me. So that life experience, guys, turned from getting my shoes taken away from me to here I am now, but there's a lot of things that happened along the way. I had a little guy that come up to me and said, hey, you need to learn how to wrestle. I'm like, no, man, you guys wear tight leotards and touch each other in funny places. I don't want to do that, right? I don't want to do that. But he's like, oh, yeah, I bet you I can take you down in 10 seconds. I said, yeah, right, bro. I weigh 150 pounds. You weigh barely a buck. There's no way. 2 seconds flat, he picks me up, slaps my back. I'm like, man, where's that tight leotard at? I've been wearing it ever since. Ever since I've been wearing it. So, guys, that life experience from wrestling, just like Anthony, I wrestled at Oklahoma State. So he said he liked Iowa. Boo, no, just kidding. But I came from Oklahoma State, and I won a national championship for them. So it all started from wrestling. It all started from this life experience. When I step into the cage, what I think is to be what you haven't been, you got to do what you haven't done. And that's what I have done, and that's what I try to do every day in my training camp.
Everybody say, find my why. That's what you've been hearing. It's finding your why, finding that thing that's going to drive you. Let me ask you a question, Anthony. You wrote a book called Unstoppable. From underdog to undefeated. How I became a champion. Tell our student athlete leaders and coaches, how does one become a champion?
Well, for me, I learned at an early age, you can never let certain things become an excuse. You can never say no. You can never say it's not possible. And I learned that from my mom. She had me when she was 16, single parent, and I was missing my leg when I was born. So she had no idea. Doctors didn't know. They actually told her that I wouldn't be able to do much with my life. But my mom, she'd always force me to try things, force me to challenge myself. And another quote I like, it says, "A mind unchallenged is a mind unchanged." And so she'd always just force me to try things. Shoot for my dreams. Aim high. And as I started to get into wrestling, I thought I wanted to be a champion. I wanted to be a national champion. And I thought that was just win-loss record sort of thing. But the more I got into it, the more I met certain mentors like my coaches and a kid by the name of Chris Friege, who really helped me along my journey. He showed me that champions aren't just, it's not just what they do on the field or on the wrestling mat, getting the win. It's about how they carry themselves on and off the mat, in and outside of that stadium. It's about being that leader in your classroom, working hard on and off the field, just showing people what it takes and showing them that hard work pays off. That's what a champion's about. And it's also about how you carry yourself. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there, a lot of athletes, unfortunately, who they win a lot, but they're not true champions because they're not humble about it.
This is and I meant to interrupt you. Some people say I didn't mean to. No, I meant to. This is one of the most humble. Both of these guys, some of the most humble champions that I've ever been around.
One of the things my coach told me, I remember, I was horrible at wrestling starting out. I was last place in my city, but fast forward to my senior year in high school, I was 96-0. Two-time high school state champion, high school national champ. But my coach always told me, he said, just remember what it was like when you're last place. He said, remember that when you go out there and you beat those guys, he said, remember how they feel because you were there. He said, you got to respect them. He said, you got to respect what they're putting in too because you were just like them. He said, once you weren't getting your arm raised. So you got to respect them because it's part of that process. They're starting out. They're not where you're at, but you remember where they're at. So